They call me the Whisperer. I collect stories, disturbing ones. The envelope had no return address, just their names, neatly handwritten, each letter pressed carefully into the cream-colored paper as if the pen had been guided by something patient and obsessed. Sarah Matthews tore it open with a sigh, assuming it was junk mail. Inside, the first sentence stopped her breath. "I've been watching your house for a long time. Welcome to 613 Sycamore Lane. It's been waiting for you." She stared at the letter, frozen. Her husband, David, read over her shoulder as the words grew darker. "Your daughter sleeps in the room with the pink curtains. The boy likes to play near the back fence. You should tell him to stay closer. Things live beyond the trees." And then the closing line. "Do not try to find me. I am watching always. Signed only, The Watcher." Sarah and David Matthews had just moved to the quiet suburb of Green Hollow with their 2 children, Emma, age 9, and Jacob, 6. It was supposed to be a fresh start. The house was big, charming, and oddly cheap for such a good neighborhood. Sarah worked remotely as a graphic designer. David had just taken a job as a manager at a tech firm in town. Their days were filled with unpacking boxes, repainting walls, and trying to settle into their new normal. The neighbors were kind, if a bit distant. A retired couple across the street waved every morning but never stopped to chat. No one brought casseroles. No one visited. It felt hollow. The kids loved the backyard. Emma made daisy chains near the garden, and Jacob was fascinated with the old stone wall at the far edge of the property, a moss-covered relic that looked like it once marked something important. The house had a certain stillness at night, not quiet exactly, more like paused, as if it was waiting for something to begin again. 3 days after moving in, the first letter arrived. A week later, the second letter arrived. No postage, no carrier. It had been placed directly on their kitchen counter. Sarah found it early in the morning just beside the toaster, folded neatly in half with her name on it. The back door was locked. No windows were broken. There were no signs of forced entry. This one was longer. "I see you've painted the master bedroom." A bold choice. Blue doesn't suit the walls. They remember red. Sarah dropped the letter. David rushed in, read it, and immediately searched the entire house. Attic, basement, every closet, every vent. Nothing. The children were still asleep. Inside the envelope was something else. A photo. A blurry shot taken from outside the house, peering through the living room window. In the image, Sarah was alone, reading on the couch. She checked her phone, then the clocks. That had been taken last night. They called the police. An officer came, looked concerned, and opened a case. But without fingerprints, without a point of entry, there was little they could do. The officer asked, "Do you know anyone who might want to scare you?" David said no. Sarah stayed silent. The letters didn't stop. They became more frequent, more intimate. Every 48 hours a new envelope appeared, sometimes tucked under a pillow, slipped into Emma's backpack, or pinned behind the shower curtain. Each note detailed things no outsider should know. "Jacob talks in his sleep. He dreams about the woods. I hear him." Emma sings to her dolls. One of them listens back. "David leaves the lights on when he's lying. You should ask him what happened in 2014. Sarah began to unravel. She stopped sleeping, began triple-checking locks, and kept her phone recording at all times. She started seeing a figure, or thought she did, just beyond the trees in the backyard. Every time she turned to look, it vanished. David became paranoid, aggressive. He installed cameras, but the footage always glitched between 2:13 and 2:17 a.m., the exact time each letter seemed to be placed. Then came the one that changed everything. It wasn't addressed to the parents. It was addressed to Emma, written in crayon. "Do you want to see where I live? I live in the walls. I live under your bed. You don't have to tell Mommy." Sarah found the letter crumpled in the trash. Emma never said a word. That night, Jacob began sleepwalking. Sarah followed him as he moved through the house in complete silence, his eyes wide open and blank. He stopped in front of the hallway closet, opened it slowly, and whispered, "He's in here." The closet was empty, but the walls were warm. The following night, the scratching began. It came from the walls, faint at first, like a mouse, but growing louder, more deliberate. David pounded on the drywall. It stopped. But then came the knocking. 3 slow taps, always in threes. It traveled living room, hallway, children's rooms, circling them, following them. Sarah couldn't take it anymore. She begged David to take the kids and leave. He agreed, but only if they searched the house one last time. They started with the basement. Behind a shelf of old paint cans, they noticed something off about the paneling, a sliver of a gap along the edge, like a false wall. David pried it open with a crowbar. A crawl space. Inside, blankets. A notebook filled with disturbing sketches of their house. Polaroids of the children sleeping. Dozens of letters unsent. Drafts of the ones they'd received. And in the corner, a mask. White, expressionless, with 2 holes for eyes and nothing else. And then, a sound, a footstep on the floor above them. Someone was in the house. David and Sarah rushed upstairs, but the door slammed shut before they could reach the children. Inside the bedroom, Emma screamed. By the time they broke it open, the window was wide open. Emma and Jacob were gone. On the bed, one final envelope. "You never listened, so I took them. This house is mine. It always was. I'm just taking care of it." The Watcher. The Matthews home was declared a crime scene. For days, police combed every inch of the property, the crawl spaces, the attic, the woods beyond the backyard. But no trace of Emma or Jacob was ever found. David stayed silent. He answered questions mechanically. Sarah, however, unraveled completely. She wandered the house at night, opening every door, every drawer, calling out to her children in whispers. She insisted she could still hear them giggling behind the walls. Eventually the family moved, or rather, what remained of it. The house sat empty for 2 years, until one day it sold again. A new couple moved in, young, optimistic, expecting their first child. Within a week, the mailbox had a letter inside. No stamp, no handwriting, just a typed note. "Welcome to 613 Sycamore Lane. I've been watching, and I'm so glad you're here. Some homes are built with wood and brick. Others are built with memory, obsession, and the eyes of something that never blinks. The Watcher never left. He was waiting for someone new to arrive.